Welcome to another edition of Resilient Living Podcast, a show dedicated to improving quality of life for both people and planet through liberation and independence, moving you from surviving to thriving and living life on your own terms. Today's episode 15, this is Complete Lifestyle Redesign Mindset. And we're doing a series that begins with complete lifestyle redesign with all kinds of different subject matters on it. You guys want to take a look at these. We're starting with money. We're starting with just survivalism, preparedness, mindset, everything that we need to do to reconfigure our lives so we can handle hard times, and also do things that if times weren't hard, that's stuff that's just going to improve the quality of our life. So let's jump in first with the mindset. The most underrated and overlooked portion, I think, of living existence. We've been led, people, my friends, we've been led astray. Well, before I get in, the background noise is my pickup truck. That's where I do my podcast on my work commutes. For those of you watching this on YouTube, the funny vest, that's my work garb. But yeah, this mindset thing is super, super powerful. I cannot say this strongly enough. I think I can't say it enough in general of how did we get to where we are. And we've been lied to, sort of. We've been led with the education that we've had, with mindsets of our parents, with just everything in general, with society. And you know what? A lot of things aren't working for us. A lot of things, I think people like to compartmentalize that we could just get one pill to fix every ill. And that's not necessarily the case. Everyone's lifestyle designs are different. Everybody's life situations. And it's your mindset, I think, though, that's poisoning each individual. They think that this is the way things are, the way things are going to stay, that you have no control, that we have to get government help, and we have to get a 9-to-5 job, we have to make money. And a lot of those things, are true. There's a lot of things like money. We do need to make some money, but not in the way that you think. And I want to move forward on the second one here is why a lot of millionaires are calling this stuff out. And it's kind of like a big secret. I think even Donald Trump said that I think he said it very, I don't support him or anybody for that matter, but he did make a remark that people who pay taxes are pretty much not that smart. I think he might have called them dummies, I don't know. But we have a lot of millionaires, a lot of successful people coming out and saying saving is for losers. And I want to talk about the mindset of this, not only just money, but let's talk about money first. Back in the day, your grandparents were able to put their money in a savings account and it would accrue interest. It was double digits, maybe 15, 20% by putting your money in that bank. That's not the case anymore. So a lot of those old ways are stuck. Now check out what the interest rates are at your bank, not even nearly half that. You put in, I don't know, I think I have like $40,000 sitting in a bank account in a savings, and it's maybe made like $300-400, I think it is, over the past 5 years. Not necessarily something I'm going to go and, it's not a very good ROI, return on investment. So yet, a lot of people I speak to, especially some old timers, you got to save. And then I meet a lot of people. I've surrounded myself with the rich, with the wealthy, right? I'm in the construction business. I own my own business. I'm an entrepreneur. And a lot of these people that appear wealthy, later on in life, you're finding that they don't have enough money to fix things as their roof or paint their houses and things like that. They saved. They did everything they were told, right? They followed by the rules. They followed by the mindset. And now they're not doing so great. A lot of them are going to have to sell their houses. And these are people, when you would drive up to the house and see their Mercedes-Benz and their 3-4 car garage and everything, you would think, oh, wow, these people really got their lives together. And then you come to find out not necessarily the case. Inflation has beat these people, the mindset. So savers are losers. When I think about time, a lot of us are losing. And I don't mean you're a loser to pick on anybody, but to yourself, look at how much time is invested into making money, which is printed, by the way, into following the mindset of society and the way that we've been educated and allowed ourselves to be educated. And yet we disregard such things as our spirituality, our happiness, our health. We all know that we should be eating better. We should learn. That means you need to learn how to cook. You need to actually learn what to cook before even how to cook, right? There's so many different things that we need to do, but yet we keep putting this off. So the mindset is that things are going to get better. Later on, they're going to get better. We just got to keep trying. You just got to work harder and harder and harder. And we're in this rat maze, in this rat race of just spinning our wheels, and really all we're doing is surviving. We want to move from surviving to thriving. That's the whole point of this show. So how do you transition from the old ways to the new ways? We're going to have to unschool ourselves. We have to uneducate ourselves and forget about what we were told. And we have to search for the things that we were not told about. So we need to school ourselves as individuals to go out there and find what it is that we need. And there's, fortunately, in this day and age, is why I call the best time to ever be alive, is we have a lot of people out there giving us that information. There's no gatekeeper. There's no one blocking you. You have just been tricked to think, we all have been tricked to think that, well, go to work, save money, well, the rich get richer. Well, how are the rich getting richer? How are they not paying taxes? They understand the loopholes. They understand how to invest, where to invest, how money works, how money's printed, and how money's actually just a veil. Cash is trash. So you try to wrap your mind around. I'm still trying to wrap my mind around these things, and I don't fully understand them yet. But I'm starting to see the game. And that's what I want for you guys. I want you guys to start seeing the game. We don't have to be millionaires. We could, for instance, a lot of things we talk on this show is, some of these millionaires saying that no one should just own a house. It's not an asset, it's money, it's costing, it's expenditure, it's a liability. If you own multiple houses and they're causing cash flow, now we got something good. What a lot of people aren't seeing, though, especially these millionaires, is if you have the right type of house that's producing food for you, where you're able to raise rabbits and quail and corn and soy and tomatoes and cucumbers and eggplants and stuff like that, right? Now you've got something that's giving you an ROI, a return on investment. It's actually feeding you. Maybe this thing would be producing, you had a well on there. You see where we're going. This is a return on investment that has nothing to do with cash. You plant some trees now, and maybe you will not see the fruits of it, but later in about 7 to 10 years, you have these giant avocado trees or chestnut trees or walnuts and stuff that not only could be used for their fruits and for sustenance, but also for timber, right? Or to even sell their investments. You can go and plant trees as an investment. There's no taxes on them. You would go, if you had a big enough piece of property, maybe you could plant like 1/4 of an acre of, say, some rare wood like mahogany or whatever grows in your area. And trust me, if we keep going in our world the way we are, that wood's going to be worth a heck of a lot of money. So you see, there's different ways to get our mindsets together here. The first thing is you have to unlearn what you've been learned, what you've been taught. So it's the carrot and the horse, the apple, the proverbial apple, I think is what they call it, where if you couldn't get a donkey or a horse, I think mainly a mule to like start pulling the cart, you would get a fishing rod with an apple on the end or a carrot, and you'd dangle it right in front of its face, right? Something that animal really wants, very sweet. It's a nice treat. And that's how you get that animal to lunge forward, and it'll never get that apple unless you let them have it. Does that sound kind of familiar? A lot of us get tired and beaten down. We don't want to go pull the cart anymore. But then that apple comes out of that carrot, and you're like, oh, I can see it. I can smell it. I want it. We're being tricked. We're allowing ourselves to be tricked. And my question is for you to ask yourselves, and I ask myself this question a lot too in life, is how well is this all working out for you? Are we getting ahead? Are we doing what we want? Are we truly happy? Are we healthy? Or do we have all of this stuff in balance? Our spirituality, our happiness, our health, our money. Is all of this stuff working, or am I just slaving away? And I think we all know what the answer is. We've been slaving away. We've been getting ahead, but very, very slowly. And if you are smart enough to get into the right type of mindset and use the math and do these things, that's why we've gone through a complete lifestyle redesign, the money and things like that, to know how much you have and balance these things out. And yes, it's work. But if you don't do that work, guess what? If you don't have a plan, you don't know where to plan, you can almost plan on failing. Start giving yourself treats the right way is my next note here. I've done some videos on Instagram, I think, and TikTok, and I like to show the behind the scenes. I'm not a millionaire. I consider myself a thousandaire, and I enjoy my life. That a day where my work day got kind of screwed up, got kind of jumbled up, but I've always got something to do. I'm editing these podcasts, these shows, and stuff like that. I'm working on the internet. At the beach. I went for a run on the beach because I could. It was a Thursday or Wednesday, I can't remember. And I went and laid down on the rocks and just took some time for myself. And feeling the warmth of the rocks on my cheek, the beach rocks, and the smell of the ocean, the sound of it, and just nodding off for about 5 minutes with my eyes closed. And just imagining where I want to go. What do I want to do? What am I feeling right now? You know, what do I not like in my life? To be able to quiet that time down and actually have it. It's a huge treat to be able to just take off whatever you want just about, right? Those are kind of treats. Those are things instead of the movies and all this, you know, this mindset of you got to go to fancy dinners and things like that for what, some sort of status. If we're so busy trying to keep up with the Joneses or appear that we're happy instead of actually be perceived as happy instead of actually being happy or successful, we're playing the wrong game and we're destined to lose. So time off, naps, pursue your dreams. What are the things that you really want to accomplish in life? What are the things that you wanted to? And notice how these things got buried maybe. I know a lot of people who've had dreams in their lives and they never really got anywhere close. I'd say the majority of people, the things that they really, really want to do, never had the time. You had kids, you got a job, you went to college. Life pretty much, this whole rat race got in the way, and now we're just working to keep our heads above water. It doesn't have to be that way if we truly understand that our mindset is what's holding us back. So closed loop systems and understanding them the permaculture way is my next loop here, or my next note. Now, for those of you who don't know what permaculture is, it's farming with nature. And basically, I'll tell you a little story. We're going to paint a little picture here of how you would start something like this and how it's a closed loop system. Well, what happens is we start what's called a 7-layer food forest. What we have is, in this system, is a bunch of trees growing, and we have 7 different layers of things. We have tall trees that are grabbing photosynthesis. We have mid trees that are growing photosynthesis. We have vines that grow up the trees, like, say, kiwis. And things like that. Then we have cane fruits of peaches and apples, and then berries intertwined. And underneath that, we have aloe vera and agave out in the center. There's this mix, a smorgasbord of all kinds of different foods growing. What happens is this food forest is actually causing food for us to eat. It's causing a microcosm, a place for insects and animals, for beneficial stuff to come in, like, say, ladybugs and bees and pollinators to actually pollinate the plants. So we have a home there. That maybe this food forest is stuck in what they call a swale, which is where you dig a giant ditch on contour of land. So when the rain comes down, it all collects into this gutter system, and that retains water into the ground instead of having it just run completely off your property. It soaks down in the ground. The trees are able to drink up that water and all the plants and everything else. But also what's happening here is we're not getting erosion on the land. And maybe above that, when it doesn't rain, we put things called cloud nets. And these are big giant tarps, basically, with holes in them, screens that actually collect the dew in the morning and put little droplets down inside of a gutter beneath them, like giant flags. And they're basically cloud nets. These things will fill up a vat of water, or they can drain directly on the ground on contour, and that goes down and feeds everything. It also causes us to drinking water. So to make a long story short, what happens is we could bring our chickens in and they could eat in between the rows and the leftover nuts and stuff like that we didn't get to eat. So it's a closed loop system of things that are designed in its intricacies to where it doesn't need any inputs, right? So we can think of life as a U. And this is what happens with a house, a car. It's an open loop system. It's a U shape. You stuff something on the top open end, it digests through and spits out the exhaust, never to come back again. But when we look at a closed loop system is when we take that U and we bend it, we connect both ends together, and we make ourselves a little screw top, and we drop some money or whatever it is inside of it. It digests and it keeps the systems that we designed, it stays within the system. Nothing ever gets out. And in fact, it keeps feeding itself and keeps getting better. This is the mindset, my friends, that we need to adopt in order to create freedom, to create sustainability and resiliency in our lives. So moving next, how to completely liberate yourself. And this is all leading up to what I like a lot of people that say is that the government's blocking them. They're uneducated. They didn't go to school enough. They don't know enough to start things when we have everything. I'm going to call bull dookie, right? Bull dookie. We have, in this time in this day and age, we have libraries. We have access to books. I mean, you think about life's work. Somebody who poured in their entire life's work into a book, and you'd have to pay, say, $20, $30 for it. I just purchased one on worm castings, like the entire manual of how to start, finish on an industrial, commercial level, all the way to a simple level. Everything you need to know. I think it was like $50. And this woman's life's work of pictures from from Panama to Australia to New Zealand to America, Africa, all this information that she gathered for that amount of money, which will change the course of my life. The problem is with this mindset is that we have all this blockage. We didn't get enough because that's the way we've been raised to think. That's what we've been imprinted in our minds. When really we can educate ourselves with YouTube, with social media. If you choose to look at the right things, if you start to educate yourself by reading books and listening to shows like this, you can actually propel yourself into something that's completely mind-changing, that's life-changing, that will change your children's lives, that's good for the earth. But we have to, the problem is I see is that most people, bringing it back down here, I started rambling off there, as most people are looking externally and seeing all of the road blockages and things they have. And guess what? When we remove all those, and I experienced this myself as a very powerful moment, but I think it'd be very scary for a lot of people, is that the biggest obstacle you have is yourself. So you need to get out of your own way. And you're going to have these things in the mindsets of the dialogue that happens. You need to contact. You need to understand this dialogue that's going on. You need to experience and to comprehend that it's actually there, that this is you. Now, this is manifesting of you. Is it you? No, it's not. All it is voices that came maybe from your mother or from your teacher. You know those voices when you're sitting there and you're like, you know what, I'm going to be an astronaut. And then that little voice comes inside your own head. You don't need anybody else to beat you up. You beat yourself up enough. It says, you don't have enough education. You're a nobody. All of these little voices, these are the mindset things that are imprinted in our subconscious mind and affect our conscious mind. What we need to do is to know that these things are not ours. These are just our creations. These are things that we manifested in our own lives. And if we were able to manifest them, we're able to just create those things. And that's a whole subject matter in and of itself. But I think the very first step for people to realize is that when you close your eyes and start to visualize, you create a visualization of whatever it is that you want to get to, and you hear those voices, to listen to them and identify with them and notice that these are a part of you, but they're not you. And you can completely bypass these things and you can keep going. It's the mindset that's been imprinted in your mind by many other people, many other things, and even yourself, of why maybe you suck or you can't do this, you can't do that, when you totally, completely can. Excuse me. So let's wrap this all up. How does this make the world a better place? By realizing all of this information and by practicing, just like a muscle, understanding that a lot of these voices in your heads, all these subconscious dialogues, and all the hurdles that are laid out before you are just little tricks. That's all they are. The moment you realize all there is it's the little guy in the Wizard of Oz behind the curtain pulling the levers, making the smoke and fire and everything, right? It's all smoke and mirrors. And yet if we had the guts enough and the courage to go past the veil, to pierce the veil, we'll see that in the end, that's all it is a bunch of little people pulling knobs and levers, and that we are like Dorothy. All we had to do was realize that we have metaphoric ruby slippers, and we can go home, we can get out of whatever we're in and into what we want to get into at any time. It's just going to take work, and it takes a decision. It takes for us to decide, I don't want this anymore, and here's where I want to go, and to actually find out how to make that happen and stop looking at reasons of why you can't and start looking at how you can. That's the show, guys. If I brought you any value, please like, subscribe, and review. You guys can check this out. You can message me at Resilientlpodcast@gmail.com. You guys can look in the descriptions down below. There's everything there of how to get a hold of me. We'll have a website soon if the show gets any traction. I just need you guys' help to get everything going here. Let me know that you're out there. This is like talking to a brick wall. So, guys, I believe in you. You got to believe in yourself, though. As I always say, go out there and have yourself a near-life experience. Don't lose your muchness. Carry on the fire and human up, my friends.